Well, blessed good morning and welcome to our devotions for yet another Friday. This is the end of the week and we are truly blessed that once again we have made it through another period in our life, and we give our thanks for His blessing. We've been focusing this week on raising the vice to the place of the gift, and this has been in many ways facilitated by the focus as well on the Enneagram with its 9 types and the invitation to move from where one is to where one is intended to be, to take what one is being given in this world and to use it for good. Remembering the story of Joseph as he speaks to his brothers, telling them that what they intended for evil, God has used for good. And this for me is the watchword for us. God has used for good. God takes what is here with us and God redeems it. He takes the vice and He helps us bring it to the gift. We've also been advertising that there will be a retreat on the Enneagram coming up, and this weekend you shall have some more information on that, the location, the pricing, the various ways that you can participate. We are making it possible for some persons to stay in so they can experience the full retreat. The facility at Naniki is a small facility with few beds, so we are aware that everyone will not be able to fit in, as it were. So there is the facility for persons to commute on a daily basis, and that commuting will be assisted by a shuttle service from Massacre Park and Sky Mall, so that persons do not have to make that drive, but that they can just be dropped off at Sky Mall or Massey and be shuttled in. The initial arrangement will be a 30% deposit for one's attendance and then the balance later in the year. This is just to secure your place. And so you'll be getting this information over this weekend. It will be made public through the social media. We look forward to persons using this opportunity to have an understanding of this important typology, which can assist us in our growth and our becoming. The more we can study this human self that we are, the more we can explore who we are, the more we can truly benefit from this journey in this world. In the past, we have simply sat and taken things as they are, but this is not how man was intended to be. And our young people are showing us this. They're not in any way supporting any institution that has them just sitting and receiving. They want to explore, they want to experience, they want to learn something beyond what is there. They're pushing the envelope, they're pushing beyond the limits. And this is what man by nature has been created to do, to move beyond, to move from one place to another. Even our Old Testament scriptures speak of a nation on the move. The Abraham story, the Jacob story, people on the move, moving to the next stage of their existence, exploring the new, that which has not been yet discovered. There is so much in this journey to be discovered, and we must not think that we have seen it all or heard it all. We have only just begun. We're only a few billion years old, and this is eternity that we are dealing with. So I look forward to persons making the effort. Yes, it is an investment, and I trust that you're willing to make the investment in yourself for this development. We at Contemplative Life Foundation intend to do what we can to make it possible that our community is able to benefit from the various ways of thinking that are out there to enable us to grow and become the gift that God intended for us to be. We now turn our attention to our period of meditation as we seek to come into that quiet space in our journey where we know and understand that we are not alone, but as we connect with others, we find that inner peace. And so this day, Friday, we want to shine our light across the world. We want to use this time to come to the center, to acknowledge all that makes us up. The weeds and the wheat. The vice and the virtue. Recognizing that everything is here for us. Everything is presented as ingredients for our life. What will we make of that life? What will we do that is unique? From time to time we see competitions with chefs, and they're all given the same raw material. And they're expected to come up with something unique. Something different. And they all have the same material. Yet they all come up with something that is uniquely theirs. And this is what this life is. We all receive raw material. Albeit in our case, that raw material may differ slightly, and hence even more so. We expect it to bring about something that is beautiful, something that can be offered back to the divine, to the all that is, to the one we call God. We're not expected to just give it back. We're expected to make something of it all. Jesus put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that someone took and sowed in his field. It is the smallest of all the seeds. But when it has grown, it is the greatest of shrubs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and make nests in its branches. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed in with 3 measures of flour until all of it was leavened. Jesus told the crowds all these things in parables. Without a parable, he told them nothing. This was to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet. I will open my mouth to speak in parables. I will proclaim what has been hidden since the foundation. I really want to thank you for being with me this past week as we looked at this particular theme, taking the vice and bringing it to the place of the gift, raising it. It's a theme that helps us to realize that nothing in all of creation is a waste. No experience, nothing. Everything has a place. Everything can be utilized. We live in an age which is very keen to discard. As a matter of fact, we are encouraged to discard. We have a television set and one little part of it goes bad and you throw it away. You throw the entire set away. It's horrifying to have this gigantic set and such a little part is missing, but you can't get the little part. So you dump the entire thing. In the past, persons fixed things. Old clocks, old watches. There was always somewhere in the community you could go and you give some fellow your watch. As a matter of fact, it's interesting because there was this elderly gentleman in my Gap, Brown's Gap, as a little child. He was called Docky. I do not know his real name, but he was called Docky. I don't know if it was because he used to fix everything that he was like a doctor, but we called him Docky. And Docky could fix anything under the sun. We would take everything to Docky and he would fix it. So we never threw anything away. And he never threw anything away. He would go around, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that he was also a person that was a collector of garbage. He was one of those gentlemen in the community that drove around and collected what other people discarded. So for him, nothing was a waste. Nothing was to be wasted. I share this because there's another aspect to that story, one that we didn't know. One night watching a news item on television, there was an interview with someone who had been an ex-police officer in Barbados many, many years ago. And he was asked to share what was his greatest experience in Barbados as a police officer. He had now gone back to the UK, I believe. What was his most unique and difficult experience? And he told the story of this particular person that he had to hunt down and arrest. And he spoke of how terrible this individual was. And when he gave the person's name at the time, my parents were able to identify the person as the man that we now called Docky. We were amazed to hear that that was who Docky had been. But here Docky was, many years later, being such a tremendous gift to our community. And there on the screen was a man speaking of the vice. And all we knew was the gift. That is what's important in this journey. Who we can help each other become. How we can find our place in the community. How we can manage to move through the vice and bring ourselves to the gift. That's all that matters. Scripture tells us of the woman who had these 7 demons, but she was brought to wholeness. Her virtues were brought out. Some equate this person with Mary Magdalene. And if it is, then we know her story. We know her blessing. So the gift is there wrapped in the vice. Waiting. Moment by moment, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. Waiting to be revealed. like the mustard seed. It is small. It is insignificant. But it is a tree waiting to be discovered. That it can be the gift to the birds of the air. That it can bring shade to those who need to sit under its shade. This week, we looked at raising the vice to the gift. This is not a theme for 1 week. This is a theme for our lives. And I trust that we may begin to look at each other from this perspective. But I know for sure that first we must look at ourselves from this perspective. We tend to try to focus on some aspect of a gift in ourselves. We create gifts in ourselves that we know people will love. But oftentimes we do that at the expense of our true gift, because we don't want to deal with our vice. We don't want to go there at all. We want to pretend it is not there. But therein is your raw material. You can't make something that will last using my raw material or using what you think others would like you to produce. No. You look at what you've been given. You look at the experiences that you've had. As bitter as they might have seemed, as negative, as destructive, as horrific, but you go back there. You go back there and you sit in the midst of that. Because that seed must germinate. That seed will stay there until you allow it to germinate. But when it germinates, wow, you will be amazed at the beauty that is you, for sure.